my friends. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. From the Impact Power Sports Studio. Impact Power Sports, online at impactpowersportsmi.com. A great place to shop for a brand new Yamaha golf cart, perhaps an ATV, UTV, e-bike, motorcycle, snowmobile, lawnmower, anything with an engine, as David Lee Roth once said. They have a full service department as well. If you have anything that you own, you can get it repaired there. They specialize in things like that. So a lot going on as we kick off this show. First of all, let me just tell you that the first part of this show will be shorter than a typical first part of this show. And there has to be, I guess what I'm getting at is, you know how like on Mondays, how I have the workplace staff meeting, and then I actually stop the stream, and then I'll pick it up later after the staff meeting? Today is like that. Because I have my yearly physical that I've been putting off for some stupid reason. I don't know why. And then finally they said, look, Easy, if you don't get this physical, you cannot get your prescriptions filled for the medicines that you take. So, all right, fine, I'll go. I know. I should have gone. They want you to see. I always encourage appropriate medical care, because you never know what can happen in a year. You know, you don't want to skip the doctor visits. So that is today, and that starts at 10:45 a.m. So that means we'll only go for a handful of minutes here, and then pick it back up. Everybody who was witness to the calamity that was the live stream yesterday is hoping and praying that whatever it was, the gremlins in the system that were causing all sorts of nonsense with this live stream yesterday will not resurface or manifest. It's really a mystery as to what was going on, but it sure was frustrating to sit here, and I'm sure it was frustrating for you as an audience to try to consume material where I start talking, and then all of a sudden the live stream craps out. It's the live stream is part of a bigger puzzle. There was a time when I wouldn't do a live stream. I would just record an audio podcast and then post it. It hasn't happened a lot, but it has happened. And I can tell you that, it's so burned into my psyche to have that idea of it being live, albeit only with the however many people we get in here, the paltry number of people that actually watch it. But it's still very, very important. I have to have that type of interaction to have the type of show that I want. It's just weird to be talking with literally no one hearing. Even if there was 5 people hearing, it would be better than none. If there was 1, it'd be better than none. And from my standpoint, I always treat every time I broadcast as 8 million people are listening. And if you, in your brain, you know that doesn't exist, it takes something away, in my opinion, of it kind of, I don't know, it just makes the presentation different. And I don't know why that is, but it's very difficult to maintain the sound that I'm looking for without knowing that the audience is here. Man Bun Chris with a question. And before I read this, it's important to note that when it comes to things that I talk about, by the time the show is done, I have probably forgotten what I've spoken about. With that being said, Man Bun Chris, the first thing he wrote was, "Did you hear anything from the program you were showing us?" And when I first saw that, I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. He follows up with, I can't remember the name of it, StreamYard maybe. No, it's Streamlabs, OBS. That explains it. No, I didn't. I sent the, hey, you've been having problems with the software crashing. And I heard nothing. They sent, well, actually, I take it back. They sent me a thing saying, hey, we've submitted a trouble ticket for you. And then I haven't heard anything. Time went on yesterday. I finished the broadcast, finally. And it was, I limped to the finish line. It was that bad. And then I went ahead and did a live stream of just me working around here. Just to see if I could get any type of momentum to keep the stream going. And it worked fine. Nick in Houston says, hello from Texas. Unpaid air traffic controller checking in here. So I guess that means that Nick is a federal employee. And as you know, there is a government shutdown. So without a budget in place, that means that I guess he doesn't get paid, but he still has to work. Well, it doesn't mean like you'll never get paid. When they approve the budget, which they will eventually, you will then be paid. But I wouldn't, you're not working for free. So don't look at it that way, because the last thing anybody wants is air traffic controller who's disgruntled with this job. Have you heard of that term called quiet quitting, where people show up to work and they don't do anything? They just look busy. They've essentially quit their jobs. The last thing you want is air traffic controller quiet quitting. Also, because I can't pay attention to everything, I totally forgot that you were an air traffic controller. Did I even know that? I think I might have known that. Are you listening or watching the broadcast while you're guiding planes to their destinations to keep them safe? Because that sounds horrible. I would guess you would need utmost concentration to keep track of them in that job. Branjo is here talking about me doing the show live. I think it's the feeling of high stakes. It might be. Nick says, I'm off today. Okay, I got you. So you're not at work. Yeah, I don't ever want to see you say, hey, I'm at work. Guiding planes to their destination, watching and listening to your show. Becca Shea says it reminds me of the scene in Breaking Bad. Yeah, it's exactly right. I don't want to get into it, but you got to watch the show. I still, to this day, when I'm bored, roll old clips of Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul or El Camino and just watch them. And what I'm noticing lately is when I watch these, they all seem brand new to me. I think that has to do with my foggy brain. I don't recall the scenes. There are a few that stand out that are outstanding. And maybe they stand out because I've watched them on repeat on YouTube clips. Alan's here. He says, I listen and interact while driving 80 miles an hour down the road. Basically the same thing. Yeah, be careful, big guy. Branjo says, was El Camino good? I remember it coming out, but never checked it out. Of course it was. The three greatest pieces of television ever made have been Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, El Camino. There is no other choice. There are no other choices. Everything else pales in comparison. And Better Call Saul is actually better than Breaking Bad, somehow. I don't know how, but incredible. The writing, the plot points, the twists, the turns, the performances by the actors, everything had to be perfect. Man Bun Chris here and says Ozark is a close second to those. Not even close. Huge failure. And you know why? It's because it falls into the category of the writers doing a show, get it built up to a point, and then they run out of gas and they stop being creative. They stop writing appropriately. They come up with shit. The final season of Ozark is one of the worst that I have ever watched. All it was Ruth listening to rap music and various meetings. That's all the show was. Meetings and Ruth listening to rap music. God, did that suck. I don't even recall how it ended, frankly. It was so bad. And I watched every episode. I watched every minute of Ozark. Bread Bull Brain Chris says, I started rewatching Breaking Bad a while ago. That first season with Walt and Skyler, they're so annoying. Yeah. What I love about that is it gets better because no Skyler in Breaking Bad. Nick in Houston, referring to Ruth, says the quote, I don't know shit about fuck, is the best Ruth quote of all time. Great character. Man Bun Chris says, my quote, I don't remember any of the ending, but I know it sucked. No, it did. And I say that because if I cannot remember an ending, that tells me that I was annoyed as shit when I finished it and went, oh, fuck you. Yeah, I remember some guy was at the residence and then window got shot out or something like that. And then they all lived and drove off into the wild blue yonder. It was just horrible. All right. So welcome to you. I appreciate you all being part of this broadcast. The physical today, as I said, that happens at 10:45 Eastern time. So I can't go very long on this deal before I got to bail and go to the dock and then come back and restart the podcast. That's what I'm going to do. I need to stress to you something very, very important. If you are a member of Patreon, it's very, very important that you check out yesterday's Ben and Eric Patreon podcast, and you need to watch it in its entirety. Because with the usual moments, high points, low points, in-between points that exist during it, there was one particular moment that took place that we discussed something, and then it came back around with one of the most unbelievable plot twists that I have ever been a part of. Okay, so if you are part of Patreon, you have to watch that. If you are not, I'm telling you, you must do this. This is all I ask, just because you have to absorb it the way everybody else absorbed it. I want you to go and get it for free at patreon.com/Eric Zane. patreon.com/Eric Zane. It doesn't cost you anything, but you have to do this. Okay? So when I get done later on today, I want to be looking at my email saying, hey, so-and-so signed up for free. So-and-so signed up for free. Just do that. That's all you got to do. And cancel it if you have to. You get the 7 days free. All right? No matter what. So if you sign up and cancel it, you're still getting the 7 days. My belief is you'll like it so much that you'll want to keep it going. You just go back in and re-enable your payment form, and then it'll charge you $5 or $10 a month. So without spoiling anything, there was a piece of subject matter that we were discussing, and then it ended. Later on, it was put right in front of our faces again with this ridiculous plot twist. And the reactions, because you'll be able to see all the faces of everybody, the reactions when the revelation is made. In particular, I was like, oh, what? It was that one of those Eric Zane Curb Your Enthusiasm moments. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my God. It's wild, as Freeman would say. I was like, what? Huh? Man. Black Belt Nick says, I must have been super drugged out. I need to do it again. Tova says, I must have missed that moment or I just have brain damage. Well, sometimes people just listen to it or watch it as background noise. But I'm telling you, remember all the times I've talked to you about where I felt like I put my foot in my mouth or, I cringed at something I did or said or it got me into hot water and I was like, oh, God. This was, you could feel it. You could actually feel it. And I am so happy that it happened. So go there and don't ask anything. Just watch it from beginning to end. You'll know it when it hits. It's incredible, my God. All right. I'm going to leave it right there because I'm going to the doctor. Enjoy the rest of your mid-morning, and I will be back with more after I